We're punching buttons, moving things around in computers. We're doing all kinds of things this morning, but we need to slow down a little bit. Everybody probably needs to slow down. Maureen, is that not right? Everybody probably needs to just slow down a little bit because it's such a busy life.
Yeah, there's a lot of demands, I think, on all of us. Sometimes it can almost feel rebellious to take a pause and take some time for ourselves.
Yeah. All right. Everybody take a deep breath and get ready to talk this morning with Maureen Ittig because this is going to be a good conversation. She's been on with us before on another bit of a topic, but today we're really excited to talk with Maureen about a topic that probably is close to a lot of people's hearts. Mental health awareness month is coming up, and we want to visit with her. She's a family well-being educator for all of Southwest PA with Penn State Extension, and she visits with us this morning. And our visit is presented by Marcus & Mack, voted the best law firm and the best personal injury law year 4 years in a row in the Best of Indiana County contest. Visit them online at marcusandmack.com. So, Maureen, there are a lot of stresses. There are a lot of pressures in our lives, and particularly within the farming community, but really for everybody. So help us to do that. Help us to slow down a little bit. You've got some programs actually coming up, don't you? They're going to help us to focus upon our mental health.
Yeah, we do. We offer a lot of programs throughout the year that have to do with mental health and mental wellness. And we also, as you mentioned, with farming, that there are particular challenges. So I am involved with the Farm and Safety Committee for Penn State Extension, but my role is to think about how our mental health can affect our work safety. Mm-hmm. And so we have some programs that are related to that. But we all know, if we've got a day where the pressures of life are weighing on us, if we're processing something out of the ordinary, it can affect how we are able to show up for the things that are expected or the people that we care about the most. So it's something that Mental Wellness Month, we know that there can be, there's sometimes for a lot of us grew up with maybe put on a happy face or tough it out kind of mentality. And the research consistently shows that when we can be our authentic selves and also show up for others when they might be having a hard time, it can make an enormous difference. Even having one person in our lives who is able to see us for who we are and sit by us when we may be struggling can really make a big difference. And that's true for adults, and it's also true for children. So in Mental Wellness Month, we have a range of programs. We have one at the beginning of the month that is about fostering mental health in youth, and that one's a webinar that's available for free for anyone in the state. We also will have an in-person workshop for those of you that might be willing to travel down to Greensburg, where it's going to be me, and we're going to be talking about building resilience, but also working with our master gardeners who are so wonderful, and they're going to be thinking about resilience in ourselves, but they're also going to be teaching us about planting dahlias and dahlia bulbs. And we're going to be talking about resilience while also planting some beautiful flowers. We offer mental health first aid training for adults and adults that work with youth every month. And we also offer suicide prevention training that is free and offered every month. So it's something. We also have some farm stress-related, more specific programs, especially for folks that may be trying to understand a little bit more about supporting folks in the farm and agricultural community. So this is not just, we have programs that are more specifically to farmers, but also folks who work with farmers. One of the ones that is coming up is about ambiguous loss in agriculture. And that, once again, is a free webinar. It's going to be May 20th. And it is something some of our educators are going to be talking about transitioning the farm and how our emotions may come up when the farm is transitioning and you're executing a succession plan.
Yeah, wow, those are all wonderful programs. And hang on, we'll ask you to tell us how to access all of those programs. I wanted to go back, though, to something that we talked with at the beginning of the segment, and that is the stresses and the tension that comes with farm life and
Yeah.
all of the things that you have to deal with. It creates distraction, number one. It might make us rush, number two. All of those can be dangerous behaviors when you're working around heavy equipment, when you're working around animals. One mistake can be very, very costly for your physical health and well-being and those around you. And so it's really, really important to be focused and centered and to deal with those stresses in a proper way, isn't it?
That's absolutely true. And I think sometimes, too, people don't always realize there's women are essential parts of, almost 3/4 of farming businesses throughout Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
And I think about a third of farms are the producers are themselves women. And women in farming are at higher risk for postpartum depression and for anxiety. When we think about safety of children on the farm is often brought up as a key component of that, or maybe caregiving for other family members. And so there's been some good research by our Penn State Extension specialist, Dr. Florence Bico, on thinking about the role of stress in women in farming and their families and their decisions to maybe or maybe not expand, or maybe not try different routes with the farm, depending on how overwhelmed they may feel.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something that affects our safety. It can affect the safety of our family members, but it also can sometimes affect our financial decisions.
Yeah, yeah. Kids grow up fast too on a farm. I mean, they're doing things that for most segments of society, operating the equipment that they do, the duties and the chores that they have around the farm. Those are things that in some other aspect of society, you're doing something similar. You're going to be much older, grown up, and kids are doing these at young ages. That's just what farm life is. It's a part of the entire farm life. We don't want to paint a bleak picture though, because farming is
absolutely not.
It's tremendously rewarding.
It is.
And I was really interested in the program you talked about with the master gardeners, because we think about the fun stuff and the beauty that is in farming, and that program really points out that the stresses that we feel in farm life, there are ways to alleviate those stresses, and that's one of them.
Yeah, there's absolutely. We know the research has been found that when we get out in the garden, when we get outside, when we move our bodies, when we're doing work, whether it's in agriculture or somewhere else where we feel like we have purpose, we're making a difference. This is something we may feel this intuitively, but the research shows that this really does lift us up. And you mentioned, the opportunities about kids on a farm growing up fast.
Mm-hmm.
This is something that we have programs encouraging other folks to let their children find opportunities for their kids to be outside more, contribute to the family in a way that many farming families already may model. So this is something, when we talk about mental wellness, we're not necessarily trying to paint a bleak picture, but just recognizing that stress can be a part of life, that we want to be able to have resilience, be able to move forward in a healthy way in the storms and stressors that come up, and make the most of the sunshine when it comes through. Thinking about the positives with farming, a lot of the challenges have to do with things that have to do with thinking. We can't control the economy, we can't control the weather, and for a lot of farmers, the access to mental wellness supports historically have been a little harder to access. And a lot of times people don't necessarily think of that as a population where they might need a little bit of assistance. So that's why we're able to provide some more tailored programs.
Yeah.
But I love this series that we're doing with the Master Gardeners. I learn so much. We've been doing this once a month, and every month we're doing a different garden activity along with a mental wellness activity. And I personally am someone who does not have a green thumb and wishes she did. Love the opportunity for us to bring these things together.
Wait a second. How'd you even get into Extension without a green thumb?
I know. My husband has a green thumb, so maybe that helps.
It must. All right. You've told us some wonderful program ideas that you have coming up, and we want to learn how to get access to these, and what's the best resource for us to sign up where sign-ups are needed, or just to take part in. So how do we learn about all of these programs you've been telling us about?
So one way that you can do it, we have, in this time of technological change, we have a new AI educator, Tilva is what we're calling her. And you can find Tilva, Tilva, through the Extension website or just by Googling her. And you can ask her the same as you would any AI. She only talks about Penn State Extension material, resources. If you want to ask her about jumping worms, if you want to ask her about tomatoes, or you want to ask her about mental wellness programs in the month of May, she will pull up all the resources we have, and it's an easy way to sort of get the dates and get the links and find out what to do.
Oh, cool.
That said, all of our programs that we do, if you think, gee, this is something that I would like to see at my library, this is something I would like to see in my workplace, this is something I want to see at our county fair, these are things that we are living and working alongside our communities. So if you see something and you're thinking, I want to see another opportunity for that's in person in a particular setting, give me a call, send us an email. In my case, I have an unusual last name, so I'm easy to find.
It's
always happy to chat.
ITTIG, right?
That's it, yep.
There you go. There you go. Maureen, thank you so much for spending some time with us. It's been fun.
Yeah, it was nice talking to you, too. I hope you have a wonderful day.
Maureen Ittig with the Penn State Extension. Thanks. Have a wonderful day yourself.